Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show you how to build a E46 M3 wagon. We're going to start with the fenders, the quarter panels, the trunk situation, everything that you need to do to build your M3 wagon. Let's get into today's video. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm always very, how do I say this? Have the utmost, like, I never really questioned SEMA time, right? Until now, right? This is a very tall task a buddy of mine asked me to do, and to make an M3 touring E46 wagon in less than a month, full color change, wide body, everything. That's not enough time. It's really not. But regardless, we're gonna give it a shot. So, starting with the car. Pretty much clapped out E46 wagon, a lot of love. What we're gonna do is, we have some E46 M3 quarters. We got some fenders. We're gonna go ahead and cut out this rear section and weld in the new E46 M3 quarters. We're gonna flare the doors to match with the quarters. And then we have to splice the front fenders. On top of that, this thing needs body work, needs a paint job, and more than likely we're gonna do a little bit of interior to this thing. So this thing's gonna need a lot of work. Let's stop talking, let's get to it. All right guys, so first things first, we're gonna start with the quarter panels. Now we don't have the front bumpers, we don't have a rear bumper yet. I really recommend doing test fitting everything first, right? But right now we're gonna go ahead and start cutting the quarter panel. So let me show you roughly where our cut's gonna be. It's gonna be right here up to right here. From there we have to flare out this door to match with that. We're not gonna weld anything, we're just gonna pound this out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a nice line where we need to cut this thing. It's gonna cut through here. We're gonna mark our door exactly where we're cutting it at, and from there we'll flare the door out to match the rear quarter panel section. Now we have to make sure that this matches up with our gas door area. We're gonna keep the inner structure all intact. We're gonna literally cut it and leave a little lip all through here, and then we're gonna weld in this rear section. Let's get to it. Everything's pretty close. Huh? Right now we are trying to see exactly how we are going to trim this M3 quarter panel section. Again, we did not cut it. You know, this is how we received it. So now we got to figure out exactly where we're going to go ahead and trim this, because it was so beautifully trimmed. And now we gotta figure out exactly where to trim it. So obviously keep this piece as clean as possible. Our initial cut done. We're gonna go ahead and separate all the lip there. Now that we've got the other quarter panel that has been provided to us, we're gonna go ahead and start cutting out exactly where we're gonna go ahead and do our splice from. So this is all the excess, right? This is where the other quarter panel will continue. We're gonna go ahead and cut it through this line, and that should be able to make it fit into the actual wagon, all right?
No va a ser nada porque le falta trim.
Obviously we still need a trim, but this is a rough mock-up of what it could look like all spliced in. We are going to separate the lip. We are going to widen out the rear door a little bit. So we still have a little bit of things to do, but we're getting there. And this is only day one of this build.
Guys, so here working on the M3 wagon conversion. We're gonna be starting on the fenders. What we're gonna be doing is we have to cut the original fender to keep all the original mock points where everything bolts through, but retaining that section, but also putting in the M3 fender, which are a lot wider. You know, the molding, the gills, and this whole radius that's gonna be put into this fender. So in a sense, we're gonna be cutting out this section here, cutting all that out and keeping all this here because everything lines up with the doors, but we're gonna integrate the M3 flare here and all the gills and everything that goes on there to get everything to fit properly. Then we can mock up the hood, which will make up the difference because the fender is gonna be a little bit longer. So now that we got everything marked up, we can do our marks on here as well, because these fenders are longer. They're about this much longer. So by doing that, we're gonna move all this more forward, this forward on that fender. So we're gonna start doing some cutting.
Day 3 on the car. Nothing's welded up yet, but we finally have some parts. This gentleman over here that decided to make our lives really hard just showed up. Didn't bring any beers, didn't bring any food, no donut, nothing to get us like motivated. I don't know if this car is gonna make it to SEMA. I don't know. Not even like
for the record, he said the only thing that motivates him is money.
that is a lie. That is lie. Hookers and cocaine would do just well.
Look, when he gives all these influencers free body work and he makes
never. I'd charge everybody. I charge. There's no free rides over here.
If you have over 10,000 followers,
hell no. That's let me just stop any type of rumor right now. Nobody's getting nothing for free. All right, everyone pays. Everyone, even I pay. I want my car done. I have to pay. You know, so why wouldn't you?
No, real talk. Oscar's the best. His work is fantastic, and he does charge an arm and a leg, but it's always worth it.
Okay, it's all right. Now we're off to a better start. We have the rear quarters mocked up. They're not welded in. We've got some fenders in now, and we have the front M3 conversion kind of mocked up. It's not 100% yet, right? We wanted to make sure we had the bumper here too, which he just brought us a front bumper, which we so desperately needed.
Well, I got you a brand new one too.
And a brand new one. Look at him.
Euro.
This guy is so nice. He just brought us a brand new bumper for his vehicle. Got both quarter panels mocked up. He also brought us a rear bumper. Is that rear or the front bumper?
Rear.
Where's the front bumper?
This
is the front. Okay.
This is the rear right there.
And here is the rear.
The one on top.
One on top. Okay, so we got a factory.
That's the wagon.
No, this is the wagon.
That's the implement.
Okay.
So the biggest difference with the wagon one.
Oh my God! You get it the nicest one you could find.
Yeah, I only get the best. The big difference is that the wagon one has a huge indentation here, so that's the part that needs to get cut and swapped. Yeah. You see how it goes down here for the taillights and the trunk? That's the hardest part.
Oh, what about all this, man? This thing's wavy as the Pacific Ocean.
That's what bodywork's for.
Oh my God, dude! You started off good. You got a nice new front bumper. Why wouldn't you get a nice?
You know, I have a really nice rear bumper, but the problem is I don't want parking sensors. I want that to be super clean, nothing kind of in the way, and I don't want anything taken away from the body lines. So, you know, if it makes it a little harder for Oscar and a little nicer for the car, it's worth it in the end.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Usually.
All right. That being said, car's getting work. Car's getting there. My face looks a little tired. It's gonna be a long month. All right. So for those of you that are thinking of doing this exact same swap, let me show you exactly what we started off with. So we started off with OEM wagon fender, okay, and then we have the roughly mocked up E46 M3 fender. So there's gonna be multiple cuts. This is like a surgery, and if you want a metal fender, this is probably the best way to do it. Now they do have fiberglass and do have carbon fiber variations of this, but you know, if you want that true M3 feel, you gotta go with metal, right? So we have already kind of roughly mocked up the fender on there. So right now we have M3 fender mocked onto the inner skeleton. Now we've already got the rough mock up here, but we're gonna have to make another cut. So we're gonna cut it right here along this line to give us that different edge, so we can have that body line of the wagon. Here's where it gets a little bit interesting. You have to cut around the kidney grill area. No, not the kidney grill, the side vent, whatever you want to call it. So it's gonna be a little bit of a Frankenstein. You're gonna have to cut it something like this, splice it in there. So it's a lot of body work, which means a lot of time.
And you gotta get the angle right.
Yeah, and you gotta get the angle right, and you gotta, that means a lot of body work, a lot of time, a lot of money. Right?
For Oscar, it's easy. It's a simple job for him.
Here's a little bit better definition of what this thing's gonna look like. We made small trim here, and we're getting that point to line up to that hood. It's lining up pretty good. And we're gonna kind of just do a little bit of body work and make this all look natural. We're keeping as much of the factory fender here. Now, this is our first time doing this, man. This is not, you know, I've never done this before. Only referencing pictures online, stuff like that. So if you've done this before and say, hey, you know, there's a better way to do it, whatever, drop a comment. But as of now, this is our first time doing it. We're only into it in a couple days, and in a couple days we already got the hood on, we got the front fenders on, we got these things mocked up. We're already starting body work. We're already over here. Got already here. Doing a couple of dents taken care of, so we're on it. Not bad for a couple days worth of work, right? But I think we're heading in the right direction. We got everything mocked up over here on the driver's side, and so far everything's good. Now obviously the hood still needs to get aligned a little bit better, but right now we at least have our corners getting very close to matching. Alright, so what we did was we ended up cutting the inside of the factory wagon fender, and then we tacked, same thing, we cut the M3 fender, we tacked it directly onto the fender. So still looking like a fender now. It still needs to be fully welded, but this makes it so we can still adjust and do whatever we need to. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky. The outside of the fender, we had to cut off the area where this portion goes, right? And the grill. And that needs to be inserted here, bodywork, stuff like that. We're going to end up saving the corner of the fender, that way our body lines and everything match up. So right now, we're going to go ahead and start measuring out and doing some work.
Alright guys, so we got the fenders kind of intact, like I was telling you guys. Pretty much like a little Frankenstein to get the M3 fenders to fit this, but we got it mocked up and tacked so you guys can see what we had to do. So on this, as you see, we utilized the factory fender here to keep this body line where it's supposed to go. We got the insert for the M3, this molding in so we can retain all the M3 fender lines to match with the headlight there. Got the M3 hood. So this is a little bit of a line here to kind of relieve the opening of the hood so that the lines match. It's looking really good, guys. So the next step for this is to get this fully welded, rinse and repeat on the other side, and then we can get this thing into bodywork. So let's go.
Alright, so since we got the one front fender pretty much all dialed in, the other side's going to be a lot easier. So now we're going to start to go ahead and dial in the quarter panels. So walking you through what we have done, we went ahead and created a step on the existing quarter panels. You guys can see that line, I don't know if you guys can see it, but that kind of gives us a little bit of a ledge to line up our replacement section. You guys can see where it kind of sits up against it. What that's going to do is going to give us a better area where it's going to weld onto, and all these little holes, that's where we're going to tack it on there too. So once we tack everything there, we'll do a full bead, and then we'll grind it all down, do a little bit of body work, and it should be pretty nice finish when we're all done. Everything is looking real good, lining up as best as possible. Again, we didn't cut this quarter panel. We probably would have cut it a little bit different if we were the ones to cut it off. but we did it, so we're working with what we got. But as you guys can see, I mean, this thing lines up like it's fucking already here. Like these are directly made for this wagon. Also lifted up the inner structure just a bit to give us that raised edge, so when we flare out the door, this is gonna sit real nice. Pretty happy with our progress. This is day 4, and I think we should be welded up on both quarter panels today, and tomorrow we're finishing up the other front fender. So we're doing pretty good.
Alright guys, so we're getting the quarter panel ready for the welding. We got it all cleaned up. As you saw, the cut on it was really rough. We're cleaning up all the edges, getting it ready, get this thing welded up. Let me show you the other side, which we have done, and that's how it's gonna look. Everything all stitched up, welded, fitting the body lines. Even down here, got everything all done nice. So fit and finish is good. Now time for some body work, mataucitos. As you saw before, this was all welded up. We're working on the body work, getting everything all cleaned up really good, so we can hopefully get this thing into primer, because SEMA is right around the corner, guys.
Both quarter panels are fully welded and intact. Good to go. One front fender is done. This one still has to be completed. So we have a fully intact M3 fender, and we have a OEM front fender. So this is gonna have to get spliced. We'll get into that. Meanwhile, mataucitos over here. Let's get into the body work right now. Getting all that nice in there filled up. Roof's getting a little bit of body work. That's going along. These doors right here, they're real bent inside this area. Now, the client wanted to get us better doors that were not bent. If he doesn't get them soon, we're gonna have to just fix these. We may end up having to just fix these. This side's also welded in. And after that, the only major body work is gonna be the front bumper. Right? I mean the rear bumper. The rear bumper is gonna have to get some surgery, some plastic welding, a lot of work. But that'll be next week. This week, our sole purpose is to really get all the metal work done and get a huge jump on the body work. Alright guys, M3 is now, or BMW Wagon, whatever you call it, E46 Wagon is now officially ready for some primer. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here we have the Dalmatian hood. This door was pretty good, a little bit of dings and dents. These were the areas that obviously had a lot of body work. This is where we went ahead and spliced in the quarter panel sections. We kind of made the door a little bit wider to match the flow of the wide body. A couple little things in dents and just old paint on the trunk. Same thing with the quarter panel. Obviously this area. Another new door there. We have the spliced fenders here, getting ready for some primer. These had to get repaired from the inside and out. So we're going over all the inside of the jam right now. And that's all nice and filled. So that way everything looks nice and clean once the paint hits it. We're gonna go ahead and primer it right now. Tomorrow morning you should be able to see a van that is fully uniformed and ready to block out. So after this thing is primered up, the next step is gonna be go ahead and making that custom M3 rear bumper and also extending the rear spoiler, or deck lid, whatever you wanna call it. So we're moving pretty good. 2 weeks into this project It's a lot of work. It's a very expensive type of job, but you know, it's a one-off thing. It's gonna be really cool. We're really excited. Here we have the factory, you know, extension right here, right? And then here we have the aftermarket. Now this is just pure fiberglass. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and mold this on here, panel bond it, so it is one. So in order to do that, what you gotta do is you gotta kind of rough up all the edges where you're gonna do that, and rough up the back edges up here, so you can have some real good adhesion. This guy's turning on a car. We're trying to record a video. This car was in a huge accident. We'll show you a picture of that later. These are the like 2 of the 3 last things that we need to do. So right now we're gonna test fit the bumper one more time, get our cuts where we need to make them, and go from there. So why do you need to cut this bumper? Because this damn freaking hatch comes out to be lower than what we'd want it to be, right? So this bumper all matches up over here, but it can't go in all the way, right? Because it's actually hindered by here. So we're gonna mark it where we need to mark it right here, up to this line of the quarter panel, pretty much where that quarter panel ends, right where that tail light is. That's where we're gonna use our mark to go ahead and mark it, and then we're gonna keep it all the way into this line right here, this body line from the bumper. We're gonna cut here, straight through. From there, we'll be able to mount the bumper, and then we gotta make that slight bend that's like on the factory wagon bumper. So once we finish this section, even though there is gonna be a little bit of body work right there, the rest of the bumper is still gonna be pretty new. So it should be a minor repair in that area. You know, finish up that wing, and then we're looking like a complete car. We can start getting this stuff into prep. Okay, now that the bumper is cut, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. This is what actually attaches onto the factory M3 support, right? And so this is what kind of keeps it from, you know, moving up and down, keeps it nice and keeps that area nice. Well, now we just cut that off. So you need to separate this so it doesn't hit here. It's a little bit of a surgery, right? It's a little bit of some work. That's why, right, not everybody's gonna do this, right? This is not fun, right? But without that on there, you can see that obviously it looks pretty much good to go. Look at how that edge is not even, bumper's not even bolted on, just kind of placed there. You can already see, this is a little bit in, but obviously we can make our adjustments. You can already see bumper is looking just like an M3. Guys, getting back into the wagon here, we're blocking out the primer, making sure everything is perfect. We did have to find a couple little spots that needed a little bit of work, and so right now that's what we're doing. There was still a little bit of work, some glaze work, a couple pinholes that need to get filled. That's body work, guys. On top of that, we are welding in this rear section. Now our boy over there did a wonderful job of cutting this out again. So now we are making this fit so the exhaust setup will work in here as well. This side has been blocked and primered again, and the rear bumper is 100% assembled. Waiting for a little bit of more body work, get this in the primer, and I'm hoping that we can get some paint on this thing here this week.
All right, guys, so we're getting the M3 wagon ready for paint. We're blocking, we already did all the body work. One little thing to be able to utilize the dual exhaust system that the M3 has. The wagon has a bigger wheel well in the back, which is this big old thing. So luckily he brought us the original M3 wheel well that we have here. We already mocked up and started welding up to get this thing finished up, because that'll allow us to see how much more room we have down here for the M3 exhaust that we'll be putting on as well. So He's gonna finish up welding this piece, continue with the body work, but as you can see, the body is looking really, really good. A lot of body work went into everything and the fitment. Same with the bumper. We had to recreate this lip here and do some plastic welding. Looks really good. So we're gonna get this finished up welded. SEMA crunch is starting to hit. We still have other cars we need to finish. It's always the same thing every year. So let's go.
On the next vlog, you're gonna see this thing be fully painted, assembled, and get ready to go to SEMA. That's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you're planning on doing this same type of build, just know it's very tedious. There is a lot of work. It's a simple task, but it's not so simple. It took about 2 of our guys about 4 weeks to, 40, 50 hours a week to get it from start to paint it, right? But I think the end result is gonna come out amazing. Happy that Brian trusted our shop here at SOS Custom to make this SEMA dream come true for him. Up next is interior, assembly, and a whole lot of stuff. You guys will see it debut at SEMA, and that will be in the next episode. So go ahead and make sure you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe and notification button, because I'm showing you guys the full finished final product. I want you guys to see where this thing started and where it's finished. So thank you guys again. Go ahead and follow us on IG. We're gonna drop our links right here. You guys get the daily updates of every build that we're doing real time. Okay, thank you guys so much. Here at SOS Customz, we got you covered. Peace.